Most people add plants to a room and nothing really changes. The corner is still boring, just slightly greener. That's the mistake. It's not about adding plants, it's about adding the right kind of plants, because green blends in, but color forces your eyes to notice a space. And here's the part most people don't realize. You don't need to redesign your room at all. I tested 10 colorful indoor plants in the most ignored corners of my home, and a few of them didn't just improve the space, they made it feel completely different instantly. Let me show you what actually works. My living room looked fine. Clean, organized, plants in place, but it felt flat, like nothing in the room actually stood out. I tried fixing it, moving furniture, changing small details. Nothing worked. Then I saw something different. A Croton plant. Bright red, orange, yellow, all in one place. It didn't blend in. It forced your eyes to look at it. I brought it home, placed it in the same corner, and that's when it clicked. The room didn't just look better, it felt completely different instantly. That corner went from invisible to the first thing you notice walking in. And that's when I realized something. It wasn't about adding more plants. It was about adding the right kind of plant. So I tested it. Different colorful plants, different placements. And some of them didn't just improve a space, they changed how the entire room felt. These are the ones that actually made a difference.
Plant number 1, Calathea. Before I added it, this shelf had a plain green pothos. It was fine, it trailed, it did its job, but your eyes didn't stop there. They just passed through it. The Calathea changed that instantly. The leaf pattern doesn't look natural at first glance. Deep green base, silver brush strokes, burgundy underneath that flashes when the leaf moves. It looks designed, not grown. What surprised me most was how it reacts to light. In the evening, when the room shifts to artificial lighting, the patterns don't disappear, they intensify. The silver markings catch every bit of lamplight and start to stand out more than they do during the day. For care, this is not a neglect plant. It wants stable moisture and indirect light. Consistency matters here, and placement is everything. Eye level or nothing. On a shelf or a side table where you actually see it. Put it on the floor and you waste the entire point of the plant. But the next plant does something completely different. It doesn't refine color, it amplifies it. And in a dim room, it doesn't blend in, it pushes back. Now, listen carefully. Don't rush the next plant. If Calathea is your visual control plant, the next one should be your shock color plant, Croton or Coleus or something similar. Pick it next, and I'll make sure the contrast actually hits instead of just sounding like another description.
Plant number 2, Croton, Codium variegatum. This was the plant that started everything for me, and it earns its place near the top of this list. Before the Croton arrived, that corner was forgettable. Blank wall, small table, a lamp with a beige shade. Even with a green plant there, the space didn't change, it just existed. After the Croton, everything shifted, and I'm not exaggerating. That corner became the first thing people noticed when they walked in. No pointing, no explanation, it just pulled attention. The color range on a single Croton is almost unnatural. Red, orange, deep yellow, lime green, dark burgundy, sometimes all on the same plant. It looks like autumn trapped in one living structure. And the effect isn't just visual, it changes the feel of the room, almost like the temperature rises slightly when you look at it. Now here's the condition people mess up. Crotons are not low-effort color plants. They need bright, indirect light to hold that intensity. Move them too far from a window, and new leaves turn mostly green. Care is simple but strict. Let the soil dry slightly between waterings and keep it away from cold drafts. No flexibility here. It responds to conditions directly. Near a window, in a bright corner, that's where it belongs.
But the next plant takes color in the opposite direction. Not louder, not warmer, more controlled, more refined, and somehow even more intentional.
Plant number 3, Anthurium. Anthurium doesn't fight for attention. It commands it. The corner where I placed mine used to hold a medium Dracaena, a plant I liked but eventually stopped noticing. It blended into the background through repetition. I swapped it with a red Anthurium, and within a day, that corner was being pointed out twice. No lighting change, no rearrangement, just one plant. The color of an Anthurium isn't normal plant color. That red spathe, glossy, almost waxed, behaves more like a coated surface than a natural bloom. It catches light and holds it instead of scattering it. Against neutral backgrounds, white walls, gray shelves, dark wood, it becomes an immediate focal point. What stood out to me wasn't just the color, it was the duration. Most flowering plants are temporary moments. Anthurium stays. Those blooms hold their intensity for weeks at a time. It doesn't spike attention and fade, it maintains it. Care-wise, it's simple but specific. Bright indirect light, light watering once the top layer dries, occasional misting helps keep it stable. Nothing complicated, but not forgiving of neglect either. Placement matters here. Give it contrast. Light wall, clean background, let the color do the work. But the next plant moves in a completely different direction. No flowers, no color dominance, just structure and a kind of quiet presence that changes the feel of bright spaces entirely.
Plant number 4, Coleus. If Anthurium is refined, Coleus is fearless. I was honestly skeptical about Coleus as an indoor plant. I'd only ever seen it outside in garden beds, doing its loud and colorful thing in full sun. I assumed it would be difficult indoors. I assumed it would sulk. It didn't. I placed a deep burgundy and lime green Coleus on my desk, a workspace that had been lacking any real visual identity. Just a monitor, a keyboard, some notebooks, and a sad succulent that had been slowly declining months. The Coleus changed the energy of the desk completely. That specific combination of dark purple red and electric green is one of the most visually striking contrasts I've ever seen in a plant. I found myself actually looking forward to sitting down to work. The space felt curated, like I'd made a decision about it. It needs reasonable light. A bright window works. Pinching the tips keeps it full rather than leggy. This one works beautifully on desks, windowsills, and anywhere you spend a lot of time looking at a fixed point. Now the next plant is much smaller, but somehow it does even more in a tiny space.
Plant number 5, polka dot plant, Hypoestes philostachya. The polka dot plant is the one I use now for any small, awkward space I don't know what to do with. The bathroom shelf that's too small for anything meaningful, the corner of a kitchen counter that always feels empty, the side of a bookshelf where nothing ever looks right. I put a polka dot plant there and the problem is immediately solved. The pattern is what gets people. Pink or white or red spots scattered across bright green leaves. It looks handmade. It looks like something from a children's illustration in the best way. When I placed mine on the plain white bathroom shelf, a space that had genuinely never been noticed by anyone, 2 different people asked about it within the same week. What surprised me was the size to impact ratio. This is a small plant with a significant presence. The color punches far above its physical weight. Indirect light, moist soil, and a bright spot, it stays compact and vivid. But there's a shift coming, because the next 5 plants operate differently. And before we get there, I need to tell you about the mistake that almost cost me 2 of them.
Plant number 6, Rex begonia. After I moved my Rex begonia away from that sun-bleached window and into bright, filtered light, I understood what all the fuss was about. The leaf surface of a Rex begonia is one of the most complex textures I've encountered on any plant. Swirls of silver, pink, deep red, and green. No 2 leaves with quite the same pattern. slightly textured, almost metallic in the right light. I placed it on a side table next to a light-colored lamp, and in the evening, when the lamp was on, the silver areas in the leaves lit up like foil. The before, in this case, was a plain bookshelf corner that nobody ever looked at. After, it became a conversational piece. My mother asked if I'd bought a new piece of art. Indirect light, careful watering, let the soil approach dryness between waterings, and high humidity if possible. Worth the slight extra attention. It belongs somewhere lit, a side table with a nearby lamp, a bright shelf, a desk corner with good ambient light. This next plant doesn't shimmer, it saturates. Deep, full, relentless color that's impossible to ignore.
Plant number 7, nerve plant, Phytonia. Nerve plant is the plant I describe to people as a living mosaic. The leaves are small, smaller than most plants on this list, but the pattern on each one is extraordinarily detailed. Fine white or bright pink veins branching across deep green, covering every millimeter of every leaf. Up close, it looks like something intricate and hand-drawn. From a distance, it reads as a bright, textured mass of color. I used nerve plant to solve a problem I'd had with my coffee table for months. The surface was always either cluttered or empty. Nothing in between worked. I put a low, wide pot of Phytonia in the center, and the table immediately had a focal point that wasn't a pile of remotes. What surprised me was how the pink vein variety caught warm lamplight in the evenings. The pink reads almost as glowing rather than just colored. It needs humidity and consistent moisture. A terrarium or bathroom works brilliantly. Plant number 8. Purple heart plant, Tradescantia pallida. Purple heart plant is the plant I put in spaces where I want people to stop and wonder if what they're seeing is real. The color, a deep, saturated violet purple across every part of the plant, stems and leaves both, is unlike anything else I've grown. Green plants are expected. Purple plants are surprising. And in a room full of expected greens and neutrals, a trailing cascade of purple heart reads almost like a design choice you made intentionally for maximum impact. Before I added it to the windowsill shelf it now occupies, that shelf had a trailing golden pothos. Beautiful, completely forgettable in context. The day I swapped it for the purple heart, the window area transformed. Even from across the room, the color registers and draws the eye. It thrives in bright indirect light and is remarkably drought-tolerant, genuinely one of the easier plants on this list once it's settled. Trail it from a high shelf or hang it near a window. Let gravity do the display work. But the next plant adds scale to the equation. Tall, dramatic, and architecturally stunning. Plant number 9. Thai plant, cordyline. Thai plant is what you use when you want the impact of a colorful plant at full room scale. Most of the plants on this list work in small spaces, shelves, desks, windowsills. Thai plant works at floor level. It grows tall with long, sword-like leaves in deep burgundy, red, pink, or tricolor combinations depending on the variety. It reads as a piece of featherture as much as a plant. The corner I placed mine in had held a plain green Dracaena for 2 years. The Dracaena was fine, structural, undemanding, but visually inert. The moment I swapped it for a deep red Thai plant, the corner became the first thing people clocked when they entered the room. That shift from background element to room anchor is what Thai plant does that most colorful plants can't. It has the size and presence to compete with furniture. Bright, indirect light, let the soil dry slightly between waterings. Allow it to do its thing without interference. And the last plant on this list does something none of the others do. It brings its own color and just keeps producing more of it. Plant number 10. Kalanchoe. I almost put Kalanchoe at the top of this list. I kept it for last because it earns the final word. Most colorful plants are colorful because of their leaves. Kalanchoe is colorful because of its flowers, clusters of small, vivid blooms in red, orange, yellow, pink, or coral that last for weeks and come back season after season with minimal effort.
The shelf I placed mine on had been rotated through various plants over the years. None of them stuck visually. Kalanchoe stuck. It stuck because it brought a warmth and cheerfulness to that shelf that no leaf pattern or stem color had managed. What I noticed was the response from people who aren't plant people. Green plants register as plants. Kalanchoe in bloom registers as color, warmth, life. It crosses the line from decor into emotional atmosphere. Bright indirect light and water only when soil is dry. Among the most forgiving flowering plants you can grow indoors. Place it anywhere you want a consistent, cheerful focal point. Bedside table, kitchen window, entrance shelf. Now, I want to know something. Be honest. Are you someone who would go for bold color in your space, like Croton or tea plant? Or do you lean toward the quieter detail plants, like Calathea or Rex begonia? Just drop it in the comments. I read them. And here's the next part, because color is only step one. Some plants don't just change how a room looks, they change it fast. Visible growth in weeks, not months. You literally see the space evolving in real time. And yes, some of them are just as colorful. That list is next. If you're serious about actually transforming your space, not just decorating it, you'll want to see it.